Welcome to the channel. In this video, we'll be taking a look at Community Report 86 for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. This was published on the 8th of November 2023. And in this report, there's some general updates with respect to the game. Nothing particularly major in the way of functionality. But what I would say is it's worth taking a look through because there's a couple of points in there which are going to be quite relevant to if you play Workers and Resources at a fairly high level, especially if you're interested in building quite complex junctions. So that out the way, let's just jump straight in. It says, "Greetings, dear comrades of the Soviet Republic and all our fans of our game. Last week, our usual dispatch was postponed due to an exciting venture. We ventured to, was it Koshi for the Game Days event. Immersing ourselves among fellow game developers, our absence was felt, but rest assured the time was well spent, and we communicated our attendance through our Facebook page." I must admit, I've never looked at the Facebook page because I don't actually have a Facebook account, but it sounds quite interesting what they were doing. So moving down to the next paragraph, it says, "With the game days behind us, we drove back to our development efforts, tirelessly forging ahead with campaigns and other features. A noteworthy milestone was achieved only a few days ago when we released the first two campaigns for internal testing." Now, if anyone's not sure what these campaigns are, these are campaigns where they're going to run scenarios, so there might be game-specific rules, and it's going to be quite interesting to get a look at those. Hopefully somebody may showcase them, but of course internal testing is really for exactly that, not for general distribution. However, the heart of this report lies in the modest additions and tweaks we've integrated recently. Our vehicle fleet has expanded and welcomed 2 Western road cranes and a hefty dumper. Take a glimpse at these mechanical beasts in the accompanying images. So this, I think this is part of a theme that seems to be developing where there's a lot more focus on the Western vehicles rather than the Soviet vehicles, and it makes sense because there are some notable gaps in the Western fleet is probably the best way to describe it. Increasingly, I think the game is moving more towards, maybe not in the early game but to the late game, having a more Western presence in your cities or economies as they build up, and I quite like that idea actually, because one, it makes a bit more interest, and two, it kind of does open up the potential for scenarios where you could have almost a scenario of a Western economy growing in from the edge of the map with a completely Western orientation from, say, a NATO customs post. Anyway, let's just take a quick look at the pictures. So these look like color variations of the same truck. So you've got kind of flat fronted truck with a crane on the top, and then one with a slightly triangular front to it. And then what we've got here is a kind of close up of the truck, of the crane itself. It's pretty cool actually, I quite like that. And then what we got here, so this is another view of the crane extended, and again it looks, I really like that visual effect actually. What we got here is a dumper. This looks very much like the type of vehicle that's used in a mine. So it's liable to have a lot of carry capacity, but it's going to be quite slow. But then if you're shifting quarried stone to gravel processing, the distance isn't far. This might be a viable option. So moving down to the next paragraph. Now this is going to be particularly relevant to any of you who like building fairly complex, large-scale junctions to move traffic around the map. And it's certainly worth noting what the devs say. So we're just going to read the description. It says, "Our attention was then captured by an issue reported by Biljo, who meticulously tested different road junctions in a video." Now, if you are into building complex junctions in Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, I've watched this video and I strongly recommend that you do take a look at it. He makes some very relevant points. He also goes through a series of different types of junctions and how they work. So it's certainly well worth watching the video. He observed vehicles engaging in maneuvers that were less than ideal on one-lane roads. Thanks to that, his detailed feedback, we pinpointed the problem vehicles that did not factor in the entry direction of the junction, and much like they would on a railroad, we've recalibrated the pathfinding algorithm, and now it should direct traffic more easily. If I open up the picture, what Bill Joe discovered was, say, probably the best example is, if you look at this junction here, now a vehicle coming from the left hand side to go out that way onto a single two-way road should go up under the bridge, up this line here, and then across, going across over the bridge to go up to the top left hand corner. What Bill Joe noticed is that trucks would come up through this bottom road across the here up to the junction, which is slightly off the map, and then turn a sharp left and cross the traffic to go back the other way. So that's the kind of unusual maneuver that the devs are referring to, because obviously what you want is the traffic to come up the proper loop and merge with the traffic rather than cross the traffic. Because if they start crossing the traffic, then you'd get a bit of a problem. I think there's also a similar situation if you look at the here, where if you've got traffic coming from the top right, you've got this loop here to go up and again across the bridge the other way. And then what happens, I think there might be a vehicle just on the kind of corner up in the left here that's gone up the road that's across the angle here, and then it's turning left to go back up that way. And it's really good to see that devs have actually come up with a solution to that, because it is a bit annoying. So moving down to the next paragraph, it says, another long-standing anomaly caught our eye, the gravel bed beneath the rails. A visual quirk present since our game's inception caused the incorrect lighting. We've peeled back this layer of invisibility, ensuring that the gravel now basks in the limelight it deserves. So obviously there's a bit of a texturing issue there. I kind of look at the picture, I'll be honest, I've never really noticed myself personally that it's a problem, so it must be a very subtle problem. I think it's like, I've always assumed like some of the dark patches on here is just where the oil and general dirt and gunk have dropped off the trains, but maybe that is an issue. Having lived next to a rail line, I know that the bit actually between the rails is quite dirty and grubby from all the junk and trash that drops off the trains. So we're just going to move down to the next section. It says, last weekend wasn't all work. Game days also provided rare opportunity for our team to bond. We set up shop with a kiosk showcasing our game, but the highlights was the personal time spent together alongside a few members of our inner circle who could join us. If you missed this occasion, we encourage you to mark Game Day 2024 in your calendars. It's not just about Kolshish has much more to offer for their curious explorers. Apologies for the pronunciation of the name. I'm not very good with letters with symbols above them. So it's like we've got a couple of pictures where the devs have been out enjoying themselves. Must admit, I like that screen in the background. I could do with a screen like that. So just move down to the outro. It says, this concludes our update for the week. While there aren't any groundbreaking announcement, it gives us space to refine and polish, including closer to our full-fledged release. Yet the journey ahead is sprinkled with challenges, and we count on your patience and support. In the meantime, remember to live your life with the fullest, enjoy gaming, stay safe, and keep your eyes peeled for our next report, which I assume will be in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, a very short, straight to the point report. I must admit, I do like the idea of the fact they've fixed the traffic flow. And again, I'll reiterate, if you are interested in building complex junctions in the game, I certainly strongly recommend checking out Bill Joe's video on the subject. He makes some very interesting points. He also comes up with some very interesting junction designs, like the vehicles. So this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.